Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily evening news with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: the Malagasy government firmly opposes France's plan to create a nature reserve on the disputed scattered islands. Lesotho's embattled Prime Minister Tom Tabani officially resigns, ending a long political crisis. African SMEs affected by the coronavirus pandemic will benefit from a financial support through the African Guarantee Fund. Our top story today: Madagascar, a former French colony, announced on Monday that it had summoned the ambassador of France, Christophe Bouchard, to Antananarivo to inform him of the firm opposition of the Malagasy state to the French project to create a national nature reserve on the scattered islands, according to Malagasy Minister Alain Jacoba. The two countries have been fighting for sovereignty over the small coral islands in the Indian Ocean near Madagascar, considered an area rich in hydrocarbons and a high place of marine biodiversity. Madagascar's decision comes after French President Emmanuel Macron announced last year, during an unprecedented visit to these islands, that one of them, called Grande Glorieuse, will be classified as a national nature reserve in 2020, provoking the anger of the Malagasy government. Last week, Malagasy President Ambroise reiterated his wish to find a solution for the restitution of these islands to Madagascar. These islands were classified as French overseas territory since February 2007. On the political front, Lesotho's Prime Minister Thomas Tabani officially announced his resignation this Tuesday in a televised address, ending several months of a political crisis triggered by his alleged implication in the murder of his ex-wife in 2017. Mr. Tabani's much-awaited resignation comes after he repeatedly said that he will retire, but without taking action. In power since 2017, 80-year-old Tom Tabani will be replaced by a new Prime Minister, the current Finance Minister, Bocuse Majoro. On the economic front, the African Guarantee Fund, a Pan-African financial institution created to help small and medium-sized enterprises, announced on Monday the launch of a COVID-19 guarantee facility worth 725 billion CFA francs, or $1.2 billion, to increase access to credit for African companies in difficulty due to the coronavirus pandemic. According to the Pan-African Financial Institution, all small and medium-sized enterprises in Africa are eligible for this facility, which will be available to banks for at least 2 years. The African Guarantee Fund, which anticipates a deterioration in the solvency of African SMEs, estimates between $20 and $40 billion the loss of turnover for these companies in 2020 due to the pandemic. The COVID-19 guarantee scheme will allow banks to finance SMEs up to $2.4 billion. On the security front in Burkina Faso, after the authorities announced last week that 12 people arrested for suspected acts of terrorism were found dead in their detention cells at the police station of Tanwalbougou in the eastern part of the country, an investigation had been opened. However, the victims' relatives and members of the Collective Against Impunity and Stigmatization of Communities denounced on Monday summary executions during a press conference while projecting alarming pictures of the bodies of the deceased.
The evidence that we were able to see was that his cousin was executed, coldly executed with a bullet in the head, because inside the morgue we took off the plastic bag, because when the parents saw his closet, they suspected that it was him, so they took off the plastic covering and saw that he had been shot in the head. I was stunned later that same night when I saw the prosecutor's statement, because these are not people who were arrested as part of an anti-terrorist operation. They were not arrested at night. They were arrested around 1:30, 2 p.m. somewhere at the market in Tanwalbougou. Others were coming out of the mosque. We cannot, under the pretext of the fight against terrorism, take people, individuals, 60 years old, 70 years old, children, and just kill them without any form of trial, without any form of explanation. That is not doing the fight against terrorism any favors, but rather lending arguments, motivating and providing incentives to the terrorists.
The victims' relatives and members of the collective believe that the Burkinabe police is hiding the truth.
Everything leads us to believe that they were kept in the gendarmerie and then taken out of the gendarmerie and coldly executed. And the haste with which they were buried without first doing the autopsies suggests that they were trying to hide the truth, which is exactly what happened. And I think that all the testimonies here are consistent. We have the firm conviction that the gendarmerie is not innocent in this case, and we dare to believe that sooner or later the culprits will be found.
In addition to the investigation that is currently underway, the Collective Against Impunity and Stigmatization of Communities demanded the seizure of international justice. In Nigeria, the authorities announced on Monday that a group of Boko Haram jihadists killed 20 civilians in an attack on the Gajigana village in the northeastern region on Sunday, as residents were getting ready to break their Ramadan fast.
The Boko Haram started shooting sporadically before reaching the military camp. The aircraft arrived and fired them back. As a result, they just engaged in shooting sporadically into town. Up to now, we have evacuated about 25 people and we buried about 12. We cannot specify the figures left behind, but for these people, we brought them for an immediate treatment.
The Gejigana village, located about 30 miles outside the regional capital Maiduguri, has been repeatedly targeted by Boko Haram jihadists as part of a decade-long insurgency in the northeast of Nigeria. On the health front, Malagasy President Ambroise announced on Sunday that a medical analysis laboratory and a pharmaceutical plant will be set up by the 26th of June, which will mark the 60th anniversary of the independence of the island country. The president specified that it will be a Malagasy laboratory designed for the Malagasy people that will be dedicated at first to the detection of COVID-19. For the head of state, setting up these new facilities is a way to affirm the identity and independence of the country. This decision to open a Malagasy laboratory comes after the Pasteur Institute of Madagascar, the country's reference analysis center, committed grave errors in the results of coronavirus tests that they indicated on the 6th of May. The French laboratory had announced 67 new positive cases of coronavirus, whereas finally, counter-tests revealed that there were only 10 positive new cases in the country. President Hassoel also acknowledged on Sunday the passing of the first coronavirus patient in the country, a 57-year-old man who had been suffering from diabetes and high blood pressure, specifying that the late patient had not taken COVID organics, Madagascar's alleged anti-coronavirus herbal remedy, as part of his treatment. In Nigeria, on Monday, the government extended lockdown by 2 weeks in the Kano region in the north of the country, which is the second most affected region by the new coronavirus, with a total of 842 officially confirmed cases of contamination. The authorities will also impose case-by-case confinement measures in all regions where there is an increasing number of cases when the need arises. With a population of nearly 200 million inhabitants, Nigeria has officially recorded 6,175 cases of coronavirus contamination, including 1,644 recoveries and 192 deaths. In Liberia, steel manufacturing corporation ArcelorMittal announced on Monday that residents of an area reserved for its staff in the Liberian port city of Buchanan will be placed under total quarantine for 2 weeks after the discovery of several cases of coronavirus. From this Tuesday, the residents of this concession will not be able to move away from their homes for more than 2 meters, and only essential staff will be allowed to enter or leave the area. With about 2,300 employees, ArcelorMittal is one of the largest employers in the country. The International Criminal Court decided on Monday to reject the request of former Congolese Vice President Jean-Pierre Bemba, acquitted in 2018 of war crimes and crimes against humanity after nearly a decade spent in jail. Mr. Mbemba's lawyers were asking for more than 68 million euros or $74.4 million in compensation and damages, arguing that his assets had been left to rot while he was behind bars in The Hague. The judges considered that Jean-Pierre Bemba had not established that he had suffered a serious and manifest miscarriage of justice and therefore refused to grant him any compensation. Finally, in Senegal, a brilliant initiative has been launched over the Ramadan period in support of caregivers in contact with coronavirus patients. Top Senegalese chefs are cooking gourmet meals delivered to frontline workers in Dakar hospitals.
We thought, why not try to mobilize the cooks we work with and try to give a little pleasure and change a little bit the daily life of the nursing staff who are at work in the struggle. They are actually on the front line in the fight against COVID because they are the ones who care for COVID patients. There is still a difference between the kitchen where you cook for 200 or 300 people in a hospital kitchen and the way we are cooking today. You will see that chefs, even if only in their recipes, are trying to put in place dishes that caregivers are not necessarily used to eating every day.
Last Friday, the prestigious Bocuse Senegal Chefs Academy delivered 60 meals to health workers working the night shift at the Dalal Jam Hospital on the outskirts of Dakar as they were getting ready to break their Ramadan fast.
We figured we would make meals contribute. These are personal resources from the Academy that we are using to do that. We figured we've joined the fight that way. We're going to raise the morale of these people, tell them that people are thinking of you. We make them happy with the food we make, with the dessert we give out. It's another way to fight the COVID too. Here, the meat is being made by Chef Njai. We're going to accompany it with fonio, a cereal that we are not used to eating all the time. We think it will be a pleasure. It's light, with vegetables, green beans, and half moons of carrots. And for dessert, we made a fruit roulade with strawberries and mangoes. It's in season, and we think it can blow up hospitals, it can blow up doctors' palates, and it will be a treat.
The initiative is highly appreciated by the country's caregivers.
All citizens can bring their contribution to the building. They can support the fight against COVID-19. I really salute them. You might have been thinking, what am I, not a healthcare worker, not going to take care of patients, but what could I bring to the fight against COVID-19 in Senegal? And we thank you for that.
Senegal's Bocuse d'Or Academy brings together the best chefs and pastry chefs in the country. That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.